everybody. Welcome back to the Adapted Life podcast with me, Julie Hasselberger. Hi, everyone. How are we doing? Everybody doing okay? I hope so. Just happy to be back. It's November 17th today. And yeah, it's cold outside. I'm walking the dogs thinking, I got to go down to the basement and find the mittens. Dig them out and have them accessible because it's been really cold. So welcome back to the podcast. I am here. I am here as a mom, a caregiver, a resilience warrior, and a friend. I've talked in many of the episodes so far about some of the tools that have helped me to transition to a place of self-realization and purpose. And one of them has been to kind of step out into the community and connect with others, or in my case, reconnect with those friends that that I met early on in my journey, maybe, and just people who really get it, like get it in the air quotes. So there was a lovely lady that I had met when Daniel was a baby, like little, like way back 25 years ago. So she has a son who has cerebral palsy, and we have known each other for years and through various support groups and mostly on Facebook. And we live 2 towns apart from each other. So somewhere along the way, we were sharing stuff. I was asking her some questions about something related to benefits for Danielle and her son. She had some good information for me. And we just decided, let's get together. Let's just have lunch. So we had lunch. This was 2 weeks ago. So Tuesday, like a week and a half ago, rather. And it was like one of the best things. So I think I really want to explain this to you guys a little bit more. Going out to lunch is a really big deal for somebody who's a caregiver for a special needs person, because we don't get to go out often. And even when we do, we have to make sure everything is covered and that there's someone here who you can rely on. And it's almost like just a little bit of freedom. And sometimes we just don't even bother because it's just too hard. But when we do, it's nice to just be able to breathe and kind of feel like you're normal for a while. So, so like me, my friend who I got together with, she has been at home taking care of her now 28-year-old son who has cerebral palsy, like I said, and he has a very high level of need, like Daniel does. Different, but also pretty significant. So like me, she gave up on her career dreams after achieving her own master's level education. And she had just started, tipping her toe into the water for her career, and then had to stay home to take care of her son because he needed her there. And caregivers were really difficult to get. So like me, she also struggled because the state benefits have never been able to provide enough help or enough coverage for her to be able to work outside of the home. And this has been very, very stressful. So also like me, she has been on a journey to really find herself again. And she's also doing a lot of inside work, finding your higher self, and meditation and art therapy. She said she does an awful lot of journaling and writing, which I also do. So we were past the conversation part where we were talking about like, oh, well, what kind of benefits do you get and how do you get that and how has that worked? And this is what we do, blah, blah, blah. And then it sort of morphed into, oh my goodness, you also do that? Like, I'm like, Terry, I'm so into like meditation. She's like, I'm on Insight Timer. I said, me too. I'm on Insight Timer. Nobody else gets me. And we were just having the best lunch. It was, like she really got it. And I'm like, wow. See, the point here too is there's a lot of wows out there, so sometimes just by stepping out of your comfort zone, the universe will provide you with something that is so beneficial and so really wonderful. So my friend, finding herself again, it was really the best lunch. It was at Panera, and we just had a really nice time. We talked for over 2 hours, talked. And I realized that not only did we have a somewhat parallel life, but we also had some really cool new things in common, like I said, meditation, creative artwork, writing, journaling, reaching for ways to connect to a greater person, a greater purpose. I mean, about who we are, what we've been through, and what we're going to do with all the information we've learned along the way, because our lives have had to adapt so significantly from what we originally became schooled and focused on in terms of women and career women. Like it all kind of stopped, and yeah, so it's really really interesting. So we really enjoyed our connections, and sometimes these kind of things, where you just say, "Hey, you want to get together on purpose?" I mean, on purpose, of course, on purpose, in person, have a coffee, have lunch, and all of a sudden, the universe is shining a spotlight on someone that really made a difference in your connection, and who can make a difference in your life, and who is a friend and somebody that you can go to. So that was really, really cool. And I encourage all of you, caregivers, and I know that life pulls you in different directions. We're like worn out rubber bands, right? We try to go here, pulls us back. We try to go here, pulls us back. We have to adapt constantly, like chameleons. Like we can't ever let our guard down, because you might make plans and then they get canceled. People often say to me, "Oh my, how do you even function like that?" And I don't know. How do you not? I don't have a choice, But if you can step out and just get out of your environment for a little while, and then find someone who, she needed me as much as I needed her. So we were both like sponges, just absorbing each other and laughing and having a good time. And it was just very, very interesting. And it's a big deal for me, because I don't have the ability to just, phone a friend and then like go out, or I can't just like plan something and then actually expect that it's going to come to fruition, because something could happen, right? With, Daniel, or their son or their child or the person they have to take care of, etc. So, um, yeah, thanks, Terry. I don't know if she listens to the podcast, but she was the best. And hopefully we can get together again soon, and just really lightened my day and my week and my month and my life. And I just am so grateful. And we were both talking about gratitude practices and, all of those kinds of things. So anyways, reach out and just, what, I'm trying to expand myself more socially, and it's a bit of a tippy toe, right? So I got together with some college roommates I hadn't seen in 20 years, and back in October. And then I made a few friends here in town. I have somebody who I'm trying to set up a walk with, who our kids played football together a zillion years ago. And Terry and I were just talking, and I said, "Let's get together. What do you think?" And she's like, "That's amazing. Let's have lunch," or whatever. We agreed. Okay, cool. And a lot of times I'll go for weeks and weeks and weeks without seeing other people. So it's just a matter of making it intentional, and you need somebody else to talk to. She's like me. She's still married after all these years, and it's hard. Her husband works at home just like mine does, but I long for my girl time, for my female friends. And I have some friends from my past who are still obviously my friends, but they're I reach out. I'm like, I really need to talk, and then they're too busy, and that's okay. But there are certain times that things come up where I just feel like nobody understands and can empathize with me. So to rectify that, I'm like, I know that that's not true, because I have a support group just for polymicrogyria that has 2,500 families in it. So there are people everywhere who can empathize with me, and I with them. So find one and take a little bit of time just to relax and talk. And you never know. You never know what's going to come out of those relationships. It could be something that's going to really change your life. It could be just a happy, friendly lunch, but whatever. It was really, 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 really good for me. Anyhow, so recently I've been taking pause, because my son Daniel, and I've talked about him, quite a bit. He was born with a rare brain deformity. It was caused by a virus that I had when I was pregnant called the cytomegalovirus, which we refer to as CMV. Um, and Daniel's situation was pretty severe. So he was born with a brain that isn't formed correctly. So when we first went out to a clinic for kids with these type of disabilities or brain situations, of course, as a young parent, you're like, well, what does this mean? Like, what does this mean for his mortality? And they basically told us, well, from what we're seeing statistically, somewhere around 10 years old. But of course, it depends on other secondary health factors and things that can happen along the way and what, things happen to him. So, it was always kind of in my mind, wow, my son probably won't make it to his teenage years, right? And then as he did, and I remember he turned 16, I was so happy. I remember we had this huge like birthday card thing where we just asked everyone to send birthday cards, and we decorated an entire wall of his room. It's like 16 is awesome. It's so wonderful. And we're kind of at another one of those milestones in my head because in the past 25 years, so much has happened. And Dale's turning 25 on next Tuesday, November 22nd. So for me, it's marking almost half of my life taking care of my child who was born with disabilities that I had absolutely no idea what to do with. I have this like music montage going on through my head. Sometimes like I kind of think back to like the early days when he was little, then all of the difficulties, and then having to start birth to three services and therapies, and like a lot of crying and a lot of frustration, and a lot of stuff. And then, all the surgeries, the time in the hospital, the Christmas. We had 2 Christmases in hospitals, like in the ICU, and my kids were small. So it was really a big deal because like we weren't together on Christmas morning at the house because one of us had to stay at the hospital. We had like holiday dinners in the hospital and had gifts in the hospital. It was really strange, and yet not strange for them. They were very accepting of it. They had just kind of adapted themselves to being kids of a brother with special needs. Anyways, I have this montage in my head about all these stresses and traumas and happy things that have happened along the way. I mean, I was always just that mom. I was that mom pushing the wheelchair, right, to every one of my other children's events. Here I am. I was the only one dealing with the wheelchair with feeding bag hanging on the thing, and like Daniel screaming, having problems and seizures. I visualized myself a lot back then, just pushing that chair along, and yeah, it was a lot. You just get into autopilot, but when you look back on it, it's just kind of like, wow. Um, we had so many ICU stays and all the difficulties we had with accessibility problems and just getting things to be safe and functional for us and him. Um, oh, all those IEP meetings. Oh my goodness gracious! Like all the way through all the educational stuff. You know what, folks? If you're still in it, eventually it stops. It just stops. It's like you go through all this intense fighting to make sure your child gets like even the bare essential of what they need, and then they get 19, and then they get 21, and then they're like basically discharged from any institutionalized care and in terms of schooling and stuff like that and therapies and all of those things, and then boom. And for us it was like, where did everybody go? Where's all the kids? How come no like it went from all of that to like just silence, and there have been the difficulty of watching the classmates pass away. I just saw one of Daniel's old occupational therapists today. I went to the dog park, and she was there with her dog, and she's like, how's Daniel? How's he doing? We think about him all the time. And, she goes, I saw another little girl that was Daniel's classmate, and she just turned 30 years old. And I said, I think that girl and Daniel are the last remaining living members of his original group that started together when they were 3, and there was about 10 of them, I think. So it's really kind of sad. It's like they're all gone except for Daniel and this young lady. So he's, yeah, like I said, he's one of the few that's still, chugging along, doing his thing. And he's here now with us. He's in our home. He's doing really pretty well. I mean, we're doing the best that we can with the resources that we can, trying to find more. And I'm trying to find more. I can't be 50,000 things at once, but I think it's pretty good. I mean, I think many of us caregivers of adults with special needs, we probably have a lot of the same sentiments like, wow, we've been through what? And here I am still going through what? Like, how did I get here? It's been so wild. It really is a wild life. It's a wild, crazy, just like, you know, master's PhD in your child, like just trying to figure it out. And it's hard. So the thoughts just run on and run on. Like, so now I'm 56 and now he's going to turn 25. So what's coming next? So now I start to think, okay, he's doing really well. I never expected him to do really well. I don't know what I expected. I never want to think about my child passing away. It's really difficult, but now what? Like, he's doing well. So we're just going to continue on and face it as it comes. We don't have the same future plans that most people our age do. We, meaning like my husband and I. We are very excited for Sarah and Thomas that they will do amazing things in their own adult lives. And, Thomas is almost done with school and he's up in Boston and Sarah's out in California. But it's very hard to think past today and the present moment when it comes to Daniel. Like, I don't want to go there because I don't know what's going to happen. And I feel like there's more of a likelihood that kind of bad things are going to happen health-wise. So I just really want to grasp today and be grateful in this moment. And just if he, like today, he went in his stander and he was happy and he was playing and he was smiling at me and laughing. And I have a little pendant necklace on and he was just fascinated with it. He just kept pointing at it. And I'm like, oh, you see the little shiny things? And I'm like, you notice everything. And he was laughing, so I just want to stay in the moment because I don't know what else there is to do. You just kind of have to focus on that and be grateful as much as you can. So the best things to be grateful for with a special needs person or a medically fragile person are the things that are happening right now, or the progress that we've made to this point, or the things that are bringing us happiness. And that is what I try to focus on. So, we follow through Daniel's life, and I try to capture little bits of it on YouTube, and I talk a lot on my YouTube channel about life as me and as Daniel's mom. And my whole focus in my channel is just whatever I might have happened to catch in my camera. And it's so random. It could be random, very, very random, or it could be, very intentional, kind of discussing a certain thing. But that's the whole point. Is it's just like a video mind dump kind of thing. Like, I just sort of roll with what is happening and what's in the moment is pretty raw. So if you go to the channel, you'll see I'm just navigating my life and I'm literally just sharing how wonderful it is sometimes, and then how like frustrating and excruciatingly difficult it is. And as a woman, a wife, a mother, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff that if you don't have a special needs child, like, you probably wouldn't really understand. But it's still with me every day, so it doesn't ever go away. It's like you just adapt to it. But one thing you're going to see for sure there on that channel in all of my many videos. It's late today. I'm recording at fibromyalgia fog time, but I wanted to get this done today because I had it written down that today I'm going to record an episode and tell everybody about my reaching out to this lady who I had lunch with and how synchronistic it was and serendipitous or whatever the right word is. And I'm just trying to get this done. So, anyways, one thing you will see for sure on my YouTube channel is this really handsome young man. He has hazel eyes. His hair is kind of reddish brown. Um, it's pretty thick. We keep it cut pretty short because it's like really wiry and it gets really crazy. He does not speak. He cannot speak, but he sure can smile and laugh, and he's expressive. And how can he be 25 yet? Whoa, like this is just such a miracle. So the dichotomy of I love my son and dedicate my life to him versus I've lost myself and this is just way too hard for me. What is my purpose? That flavors my days, my weeks, my months, my years, So I love him desperately, but as I've come to love me fiercely, things are changing for me. And I it's maybe like an inner fear that you have that if you take your focus off your person you're caring for, like maybe people feel selfish. Like if you start talking about self-love, isn't that selfish? And on the flip side, it's actually the opposite because the more you really begin to dig into who you are and and how you find joy from the inside, from love, everything expands. So when I become really excited and I'm vibrating at a real positive vibration and things are moving and I'm getting things done, and then I have time to go in there with him, and it's not like just long hours sitting in the chair, but I come in there like a tornado going like, Dino, I got some good projects. Let's do this. And he like laughs. And, I don't have nursing care all the time. So I have to take care of other things when I'm able to, because there's a lot of other things in life that have to be managed. So I try to make it good quality time when I find myself having to be the caregiver. And, I do some fun things with him and try to make up for maybe he hadn't seen me all day because he had a nurse all day and I was out doing things or whatever. So 25 years old, it's amazing. So I have adapted. We've all adapted, and then I've moved forward and then I've had to adapt again. And then I go forward. And then this week I found out that like his neurologist, who's a critical part of his medical team, is leaving Yale. And right at this time, we're doing investigative work regarding the resurgence of his seizures. So then I get a call that his DDS caseworker, the Department of Developmental Services, who's been with him for like a long time, like way back to when he was in school, is also leaving her job. And she's coming over tomorrow to go over his plan and kind of she doesn't want to leave any loose ends. And I'm trying to realign the program so that by making some changes with my guardianship, I can get paid to be his caregiver part-time because I need to do that. So I'm just like, well, who's going to take over all of his stuff for DDS? So now he's going to have to get a new caseworker. And sometimes you don't get a caseworker, you kind of like get floated around. And that's what happened to us in the past. And like nothing happened for him. And it was kind of frustrating. So I'm grateful for the years that I had our caseworker because she was one of the good ones. She's amazing. And I'm not surprised that she's moving on to a new career, but now what, right? So there's always something else you have to kind of adapt with. And it's a big deal. Physicians changing is a big deal with somebody like Daniel because there's so much substantial medical history in every specialty, GI, neurology, pulmonology, orthopedics, physiatry. And it's like starting all over again because they pull you to somebody else and then you're like a new patient there. And, it's hard. And a lot of times there's more waiting to get an appointment. I waited 7 months to get a new GI appointment because it was a new patient visit for a complicated person. Anyways, right? You're like changing and then just when you least expect it, like they're like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. So how lucky am I though? How lucky am I to have this beautiful, beautiful 25-year-old son. I feel so grateful and so blessed to have this young man. He has so many beautiful, beautiful, miraculous gifts, truly. And the gifts that he's given my life, just being his mom, I feel like I kind of envision this like ripples, like floating out into the universe, right? They just surge because there's so much goodness and love in that room when I'm there with him. Kindness, perseverance, sacrifice, overcoming, adapting, learning, hoping, dreaming, giving, changing, believing, caring, and just having fun. And now I'm seeing that musical montage again in my head. I don't know. Today's song is that song "Brave." Just say what you wanna say. You know, I want to see you be brave. I can't sing today. Sometimes I can sing, but my voice is very like irritated today. My throat is hurting me. So, um, we all give so much of ourselves as parents and as caregivers and as children, caring for adults, parents, and just giving of ourselves into that process of helping someone live, right, and function. Um, but being a special needs parent, it's just incredible. I mean, we give so much as a regular parent, right? But when we're taking care of someone, I think I'm trying to say is it just takes it to a whole new level because you have to learn who your child is and how they are and how they work. And it's not like having a normal child who follows a natural progression and can learn how to talk to you and express things to you. And as challenging as that is, imagine having none of the normal cues and milestones. Um, so it makes figuring out what to do with everything a really huge puzzle. So when I had lunch with my friend Terry and we shared our connection of similar interests, it wrapped around me like a giant hug. And I just looked at her and I'm like, boy, your son's lucky to have such an amazing mom. Like she really loves him and he's really hard and his behaviors are hard and things are challenging. But yeah, and I'm like, she's just like me. And it sounds really corny, but I'm thinking in my head, she's just like me. And it was really funny because then we left the restaurant and we walked outside to get to our cars. And I drive a white Subaru Forester. And then she's parked right next to me and she has a black Subaru Forester. And I looked at her, I'm like, you're just like me. It was so funny. Anyway, it was one of those had to be there moments. We both had tears in our eyes. We were just like so goofy. Um, so we need each other, and sometimes we really don't have to bear everything alone. So if you are feeling like being a caregiver is just a really exhausting situation, it's causing you to feel lost and alone, I'm good news. I'm here, and I'm just like you, and you're just like me, and there are people out there for you and for me, and we can just lift each other's spirits up, even if it's just a little bit to change the day. So it's brilliant how we connect with each other these days. It's just really pretty amazing. So to my middle baby boy, Daniel, born so close to Thanksgiving, I want to say happy birthday, my sweet, sweet Daniel, and many, 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 many more. I am loving my new explorative life and I'm accepting it and I'm letting it grow and I'm taking time to let it form as I listen to my intuition and just let it guide me. Things are really, really good. I am still young at podcasting. And you need to download like 1,000 times before you can monetize and begin to really expand. But I'm working on it. I'm focused on that goal. So, in honor of Daniel's birthday, I would like to share something else. I think I've mentioned in the past that we have an art shop on Etsy. Everybody knows Etsy.com, right? It's a great place for people to sell things that they make, things that they do. So, on the art shop. Our art shop is called Daniel Special Art. I think I have it linked in the description. and I try to connect with it pretty much every day. So on Daniel's Special Art Shop, so here goes the story for this one, right? I just want to share this with you guys. And Daniel and I enjoy art, and it started with the fact that he's very tactile. So because he's nonverbal and has limited use of his hands and his body, but he loves to like squish things and anything that he puts his hands in water, like the little beads, and place sand and slime and all this stuff, right? And we have always done a lot of finger painting. And then one day I said, well, I'm going to like draw this rough sketch of this tree, and we're going to use your fingerprints as, to do dot, 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 dot. And those will be the leaves, Daniel. And then we're like, look, we made a tree. And then a little project came along where one of his nurses took his little fingerprints and she drew them. And then she drew little birds. They're all funny, whimsical looking birds. And I have these little canvases popping up all over the place. And we started coming up with other ideas. And then let's play with blues and see how they look. And we're like, that looks like an ocean. And in the very beginning, it was very basic, kind of, just kind of juvenile, like kind of paintings. And they were terrific because it was this coordinated effort between the two of us. And so we just used to joke, oh, Daniel's art shop. And then I basically took my dining room table out of my dining room, and I have this little art area, and I have a lot of acrylic paints, watercolors, and lots of paper and tactile things that we can, pipe cleaners and Google eyes and glue and glitter and everything, beads and string, and I don't know. So we just really, really enjoyed making the paintings. So we did a few more. And then someone said to me one day, oh, you sell some copies of those. So I did. And the shop barely made 2 sales. Like it was just something that was more of it was just something that was like our thing that we do together. Right. So now this shop has, I think, 70 something items for sale, and our art has changed. We have some projects that are like very tactile, like he squished the colors that I put under the cellophane paper, and then I get his hands. And then I started learning how to adapt the paintbrushes and, kind of guide his hand. And sometimes it's just me, and I'm like the other day we were trying to do this little bird, and I was trying to transfer the image using the carbon paper. So that was complicated for him. So I said, just put your hand, because he kept kind of putting his hands on my hands. So I would just let him rest his hand over my hand, and hand over hand, and then he would laugh. He thought that was a funny, and then he would just like ride with me, right, while I'm painting or coloring. And sometimes he'll actually, he does the motion, uses his hand, paints back and forth, and he's very, very funny because he really enjoys it. And it's touch and go, because sometimes he'll have a little staring seizure or something else will happen, or he'll get spastic and he'll need to take a rest. But we usually start a project, and then we little by little will build up on it, or we find something on tutorial and we'll follow it together and watch the video, and I will do the complicated work on the piece, and then he will do something else. Like he likes it when we do like splatter, like you take a paintbrush and then you tap it and it makes like snow, and it gets everywhere. Or I use his fingerprints to do the snow. The point is that all of the pictures in the art shop are a combined collaborative Julie and Daniel love story, right? Like we enjoy our time together, and I try to put a little bit of us in each painting. And mostly now it's like a lot more me, because I sort of evolved into enjoying art for like therapy. So it became a really beautiful love story with art, because it started with some just basic things, and then it's like, and you can see it. You can see it in the pieces, and we are not artists. I have no art experience whatsoever. But the shop isn't about that. It's about the love of a mother and son. And I don't have a tremendous amount of time. I mean, I would love to really, find some other things, or maybe find out what kinds of things people would actually be interested in. Kind of, make it so that if somebody had a special request, they could do that. I don't know, but check it out. That is my request for Daniel's birthday this year. Just please take a look at his shop and share it with a friend. The proceeds from the shop go back into the shop because art supplies do cost quite a bit of money. So it's just his own little businessy thing, and I love it so much. So I will, I'll just keep posting these podcasts, and I just want to connect with everybody and just let them know that I'm here. And I encourage you guys, reach out, find some courage, step out of your comfort zone, even if it's a little bit, reconnect or connect with somebody in your community that might be able to ease your burden a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to get together with people who are not in any way, shape, or form on the same journey that you are. So, like I have friends who are my age who are like, did extremely well in their careers. Kids are gone. They have, they're getting close to retiring, and, they travel the world, and it's a different, we still love each other, but we don't have anything in common. As a matter of fact, all of my earlier days, the friends I had then, nobody has this in common with me. And sometimes I feel extremely lonely, and I'm trying to change that. So that's why I'm here, and it's helping so much. So I'm going to keep telling Daniel, hey, well, we've made it this far. Today's a good day, and we're grateful for this day. And we'll go to sleep, and we'll wake up, and we'll be grateful for the next one. And we will worry about the next one when it hits. For now, we're going to stay in this moment, this precious, beautiful moment, and just really absorb all of these beautiful miracles that are around us, and focus on, that positive heart, and making improvements and bringing abundance into our hearts. And, I'm just so grateful. And I just want to wish everybody a very, very happy Thanksgiving, and all of my love to you all. And let's keep connecting and adapting and being there for each other. And I will see you next time. And like I said, check us out on YouTube, check us out on the Etsy shop. I don't know, connect with me on Facebook, whatever. I'm out there, and I'm always looking for interesting people to chat with. So see you later. Take it easy. Bye-bye.